What's up everybody, Dan here with Dan and Sarah Makers, and in today's video I got a quick, hopefully quick project I need to do with our tractor. As with any new thing, there's always improvements, modifications, things you can do to it to make it a little bit better or more usable for you. One of the things that we're going to do today is we're going to install a couple of these little 5/16 chain hooks on the back side of our bucket, so that if we ever have to rig anything chain wise, pull, lift a sling or something, we have those mounted to the front of the bucket. It's a pretty common feature that the dealer will add on. I think they said it was like 70 bucks per hook to install. Most of that cost is in welding, so they actually gave me 2 of them for free. Woohoo! With the tractor. So I'll install them myself. So I'm going to do a couple of those on the back of the bucket, and then on the bucket, the digging bucket for the backhoe on the back, it's really nice to have a point to attach a shackle, you know, something really beefy and heavy duty like this. Actually, this is a really small one, but a shackle point. So basically it's just a piece of metal like a knife plate that sticks straight out, has a hole bored through it, and you can connect a shackle to this. That way you can, you know, hook round slings to it, whatever you want, flat slings, chain, something like that. That way if you need to lower or lift something from the actual backhoe portion, you can do that. So that's a nice feature. I've kind of looked at the back, decided where a good place would be that's out of the way. So as we're digging, it's not hitting things. As it's curling, it's not hitting things. It's not obstructing our ability to take the bucket on and off with the pins. And also, you know, if we're smoothing the bottom of a trench, we aren't mounting it in such a way that it's cutting a line in the bottom of our trench. So it's up out of the way, tucked out of the way, but useful at the same time. So we've got our little Lincoln Electric 140 MP multi-process welder. It'll do stick, MIG, TIG, flux core wire feed. So anyways, it does multi-function. It's a nice little welder. It came highly recommended from the millwrights of the company that was a subcontractor that was working on one of my projects. I was able to see what they were able to do with this little welder, and I was pretty impressed. So for the price point, it was a good investment. I'm not a welder by any means. I've taken a welding course just for fun, so I kind of know what to expect when you're welding. You know, why manage somebody and tell them how to weld when you have no clue on how to do it? So that's one reason I took a welding course. So for something like this, it's not a life safety issue. I think it should be perfectly fine. And if the welds start to break or pop or snap or anything like that, I can re-weld it again or hire somebody. So we're going to give it a try today. For the shackle point on the back, I've just got some of this 3/8 inch thick L metal. This is probably some sway brace or something that got cut out and removed, so I just got a chunk of it. I'm going to cut part of the flange off, and I'll cut my profile for my shackle bracket out of that and then weld that on. So 3/8 hopefully is thick enough. We'll see. I'm not intending to side load it, so it shouldn't bend, hopefully, but we'll see. If I need to upscale it at some point, we can. So let's get started. We'll grind the mounting plates off. We'll prep the back of these hooks. We'll use a magnetic square to get them in place. We'll tack weld it, go to the other one, tack weld that, let it cool so it doesn't bow on us, and then we'll go through and start MIG welding it. That looks about centered and square with our magnets. So I'll tack it on the front and the back, just a real quick spot weld. And then I'll get the other one done, and that'll give it just a minute to cool off. And then I'll come back and I'll just kind of jump back and forth between the two, do part of a weld, clean it, go to the other one, do part of a weld, clean it, come back here. That way we're not getting too hot at any one point. One quick item I forgot to mention is you want a good ground on the material that you're welding to. So what I did is I just ground off the paint on either side of this area here where I'm going to attach the second hook. That way I can get my ground clamp on there and not be going through paint. So that'll allow me to ground, weld the other side. Once I get the other side tacked in and welded, I can attach my ground to the hook, which is not painted. This paint would bubble, blister, burn off anyway, so it's not a big deal. And we'll come back and do touch-up paint after we're done so we don't get rust. Got a little bit of undercut there, not too bad. I want to fill that out a little bit more, bit of a void. Alright, let's start playing with the other one for a minute. for the shackle connection plate, we're just going to cut a chunk out of this 3/8 L metal. I'm going to use the portaband to do that. Based on all the equipment I've worked around over the years, if we put a shackle mount on the back of this bucket spine here, it'd be out of the way of our pin that removes the bucket. You don't want that obstructed because it's probably not always going to be this easy to move. It'll be bound in there. We'll have to get a sledgehammer or something to punch it out in a pin or something like that. I'm looking for zerks or grease fittings that I would obstruct. I've got a pin through here that I would need to access. I kind of want to keep it on the backside here, just so if we need to get a little bit of extra lift, the shackle would be in here and the strap would run around the bottom of the bucket. And as we roll the bucket up, that would allow you to lift it and also move the load out or in for a little bit of fine-tune adjustment. I need to cope the back of this a little bit so it matches that radius, which isn't too much, it's just a little bit, so that would probably be an angle grinder type job. So we'll clamp it on our sawhorse, we'll grind it, get it till it fits this radius nice, and then we'll start kind of shaping the outside of that. So we've drilled a 1-inch diameter hole through this plate. We've got the backside kind of radiused or coped to made up to the surface of the back of the bucket. I want this to be a little bit curved. I don't want to get any thinner than this dimension here, so I wouldn't want to get any closer than about there and there, but I also want a good weld surface. So I think I'll probably Just kind of freehanding this. Do something like that. This corner here is an angle cut, so it's not beautiful. It's not really that great, but so I'll probably take that and square it up. So I'll just kind of radius off these corners. I'll probably do 2 or 3 cuts of the bandsaw just to start knocking the corners down, and then just kind of radius it with the grinder. Much harder steel there, just because it is a cutting edge, but that'll give us a good ground. Yeah, let's do it this way. We've got our 2 chain hooks on the front bucket, and we've got our shackle eyelet, I guess we could call it, on our digger bucket, our backhoe bucket. So now let them cool for a little bit, and let's go out and try them and see what we can do with them. Well, I would say that was a good success. We didn't tear off a hook or an eyelet. We were able to drag a fairly good log that was jammed up out. So we did exactly what we wanted. So now the tractor is that much more usable in fun areas like this. This is Dan with Dan and Sarah Makers. Follow us on Instagram at Dan and Sarah Makers. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Those are all great things for us. So until next time, have a good one. Bye.